I have a question for you. Have you ever thought about the fact that there were retired kamikaze pilots? Guys who were conditioned to fly their planes into ships as weapons, who didn't get to do that. And then the war ended. And then they had to go home and live lives. Just think about that for a second. How do you go back to your normal life after that? What do you do to fill the time? They made stuff like this. Kinda. But what is this? It's a Bosuzoku Toyota Cressida, and we're about to go bumper to bumper on it. So strap in, Grandma. There's a bear outside, and the doctor's in the kitchen with Mommy. Yeah, it's an absurd intro, and this is an absurd car. This is Bumper to Bumper. I'm James Pumphrey, and Jesse's over there. Big thanks to Cove Audio for partnering with us for this episode of Bumper to Bumper. This is the Cove Commuter Portable Wireless Bluetooth speaker, and let me tell you, this thing bumps. Baby, all I gotta do to get the tunes going is connect from my phone, my computer, or my tablet, and I can play music from up to 30 feet away. That's about 6 meters. And with a charge that lasts up to 8 hours, you can take it everywhere. It even doubles as a speakerphone, and you can put it right in your cup holder, which I can do because I'm plastic free now. If you follow the link below, you can get this Cove Commuter for 65% off. That's the best deal we've ever offered on this show. Thanks again, Cove. I'm really stoked about this thing. I have 2 of them now, so mahalo, baby. After returning home from WWII, Kamikaze pilots had a lot of trouble adapting to the humdrum routine of everyday life again. And they were looking for thrills. So they bought motorcycles, modified the mufflers to be extra loud, and terrorized the streets together at night. People called them Kamikarizoku, or Thunder Tribe. As the Kamikaze pilots got too old to make trouble, newer generations of rebellious working class teens picked up where they left off. They even took their awesome style, called Tokofuku. Their motorcycle mods got more extreme with ridiculously tall rear seats, raised handlebars, and colorful paint jobs on big bearings. They rode recklessly and purposely clogged up streets. The dude is freaking circling around a cop car. After a couple of massive group runs blocked traffic and incited riots in tranquil neighborhoods, the Japanese media started calling them Bosuzoku, which translates to violent running tribe. True to the name, a lot of Bosuzoku members got into fierce disagreements with rivals, carried weapons, and ended up in the Yakuza, just like Nolan. If he takes his shirt off, he is covered in tattoos. Police crackdowns have drastically reduced the number of real gang members since the peak in 1982, but the crazy modifications lived on. And somewhere along the way, cars started getting the same treatment as the motorcycles. Today, I am here with this Bosuzoku style 1980 Cressida, which is arguably the automotive version of me. I'm a boy from Kentucky. You know what kind of lives a boy from Kentucky and a 1980 Cressida usually lead? The kind that nobody notices! But neither one of us wanted that. So I moved to LA, bought a blazer and some skinny jeans, and dyed my hair blonde. Max, roll that footage from that party we went to. Not willing to live the typical Toyota sedan life, this car transformed into something that doesn't just scream, "Look at me!" It demands it. This is one of only a tiny handful of Bosuzoku style cars built on American soil. And I tell you, these parade floats are some of my favorite things in the world. The builders of this Cressida are the Moonlight Runners, also known as John and Astrid. They grew up in the American punk scene, and they felt a special connection with the Bosuzoku culture of young motorheads who challenge authority. When they discovered they didn't quite fit in with typical car enthusiasts around here, they were inspired to build something different. Bosuzoku gives a big ol' middle finger to the conservative blend-in aesthetic. This is anything but mundane. Now, if I want to change my hair, I can just go to a salon and pay someone to do it. Or I can go to a racetrack, which is where I dyed my hair. But it turns out you can't just go on eBay and order all these crazy parts for your 1980 Cressida. You can't even get them for a Corona Mark II either, which is what this car is called in Japan. So, what is a Bosuzoku lover to do? DIY. Just do it yourself. The Moonlight Runners learned everything as they went, fabricating all of their own custom bodywork with a little help from neighbors and friends at Old Town Restorations in Orange County. With Bosuzoku cars, most of the action is on the exterior. You might think it's all just one style, but you'd be wrong. Dead wrong. There's a lot of different subtypes. There's Garachan, based on Group 5 super silhouette race cars and their functional aero features. There's Kyusha, a more understated look, usually seen on classic Japanese cars. Shakotan and Yunki are race-inspired lowriders with fender flares and stretch tires. Some people even consider VIP sedans or Bipu to be a subset of the Bosuzoku style. It's all a bubble chart, guys. We are all made of stardust. Everything is connected. Time is a construct. Nothing is real. But there are no rules when it comes to expressing one's personal style. And Bosuzoku is really a combination of bits from any and all of them. This car combines many elements of Shakotan with ultra-low stance, big flares and wide wheels, and Garachan with this huge front splitter. Let's talk about this splitter for a second. It's impossible to ignore. Go ahead and try. I'll wait. You couldn't, could you? On the Group 5 silhouette racers that this was based on, protruding splitters were used to help direct more air over the top of the cars, increasing downforce and improving traction. This exaggerated 4-foot-long behemoth probably doesn't do that because it's big enough to host a dance-off. This massive splitter looks like it's gonna scoop you up and make you love it, just like me. Bye! Shakotan-style cars often run exposed front-mounted oil coolers with oil lines running through the front grille or an open headlight housing like this one. The Moonlight Runners had one on a previous iteration of their build and it looks very racy, but after an unfortunate traffic incident, they decided to go without. This headlight isn't missing for any reason other than they haven't found a replacement for the one that was damaged. If any of you know where to get one, these guys would love it if you drop them a line. After the huge splitter, the other most, look at me, feature of this car has got to be the exhaust. These are called take yari pipes or bamboo spears. And nothing makes a statement quite like 10 feet of bright yellow exhaust tubing in the air. It's an absolute must for any Bosuzoku fan, and this Cressida does not disappoint. Unlike my dad. If you're out there, I hope you're done buying cigarettes, because I'd love to talk to you. There's no way you can miss the pipes coming straight out of the hood and flying over the roof. To come out up here, the exhaust has to make a quick U-turn right after it makes its way out of the headers. Under the hood lies the same engine that came in the Supra. No, not that one. The Supra of the time. Toyota's 2.6 liter 4ME straight six, making a blistering 110 horsepower. In fact, this was the first motor that Toyota made that offered fuel injection in the United States. Let's go look at the sides. The sides keep the party going, starting with the aggressive Shakotan style fender flares and another nod to the classic JDM race car look. They are made of custom molded fiberglass and carefully curved to flow with the Cressida's body lines. Tucked under them are fat AF SSR Mark 1 wheels, 13 by 10 up front and 13 by 12 in the back. You know, super common size. The custom side skirts have just centimeters to spare between themselves and the harshest of bodywork mistresses, that known as the ground. The goal of this build wasn't speed, and obviously you can't go too fast on public roads with all these pavement skimming parts. The goal was to have a car that the owners would get a kick out of cruising on the weekends, and one that would make your eyeballs say, what? Something else your eyeballs should seriously appreciate is this incredible pinstriping. A lot of Bosuzoku cars are painted eye-catching colors or in two-tone schemes that represent the province that they're from, but they don't have pinstripes like this. Purple and silver was always the Moonlight Runners' preferred combo, and Astrid spent 60 hours painstakingly thinking about how the paint would go on and exactly where to lay the tape. It took 2 weeks to complete the painting itself, and the result works. The number plate on the door is also a classic Kaido racer feature with the 32 referencing the MX32 Cressida chassis code. Back here, there's a signature on the C-pillar. Why is there a kanji signature on the C-pillar of this car? Well, that's where Kai Mira, creator of Rocket Bunny, you ever heard of it, left his mark. When our friends at Hardcore Tokyo, sup June? When June was putting their booth together at FD Long Beach, the original display car fell through, so Mura-san asked to park the Moonlight Runners Cressida in the booth instead. If you think about it, it's very cool to have your car recognized and acknowledged by the godfather of over-fenders. Around back are these sick looking vents that were sourced from a Mark II MR2. I also love this tall NASCAR style spoiler that is grafted into the trunk lid and the rear quarter panel. A shaved rear end is not only a funny way to groom your dog, but also an incredible way to cap off a Bosuzoku build. The license plate is even tweaked upward at an angle in a nod to Japanese gangs because it's harder for the cops to read the numbers. The Moonlight Runners' attention to detail carried on through the interior too. This place is decked out with more crushed purple velvet than my daddy's lingerie drawer. The seat covers make you feel like you're sitting on a trunk. The dash cover features legit crystal and tassel fringe in beige to complement the stock interior color. Even the door panels got the amethyst velvet treatment. Forget the rug, man. They're what really ties the room together. This absolutely tiny, teensy weensy, teeny Grant steering wheel probably is the only American-inspired thing about this car. It's more of a hallmark to the lowrider style, and it doesn't make turning those fat tires with no power steering any easier either. But like the front splitter and Takiari pipes on the exterior, it's one of those key, look at me, pieces of the interior. Almost everything else here is functional 1980 Cressida. In fact, when Cressidas were new, car magazines raved about how quiet they were to cruise in. You know, quiet. It's nice and quiet and luxurious. The cherry on top is this flashing purple warning light. The car just wouldn't be complete without it. Ow. You can't help but lose your and smile when you see a car like this cruising down the road. You might not like it, but you gotta respect John and Astrid for building it. They now have another car in the works and a future kit for people who want to build their own Bosuzoku style rides. I might be hitting them up in the future. So big thanks to the Moonlight Runners for loaning us this car. They hope to use this car to organize events and help kids and the homeless in their community. And gangs are all about community. Gang, gang. Hey guys, if you're like me, you love stunts, you ever wonder how they do them? I wondered, so we made a show where I find out how. We drive a car under a semi-truck like in the Fast and Furious. It's every Wednesday for the next 3 weeks. It's tight. Thanks for watching Donut Media. If you guys didn't watch it, I wouldn't get to make it. Honestly, this is my dream job. I think about it every day when I go to work. Follow me on Instagram at James Pumphrey. Follow Donut on Instagram and Twitter now at Donut Media. Watch this episode of my son Nolan's show, Wheelhouse, and watch this episode of my other show, Up to Speed. Lots of new shows coming all summer and throughout the year. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. If you like this video, let my boss know by clicking that like button. I love you!